Welcome to the Land House channel. I'm Seth. Today I have the HeatStorm 3000 to 6000 watt 240 volt garage heater. This is a Wi-Fi connecting heater that can also be controlled by a remote. Let's go ahead and unbox this, take a look at all the components, and then go get this installed to see how well it heats my shop. Let's take a look at the contents of this heater and see what all comes in the box. Here are all the items included in the package. First of all, you've got the garage heater itself, which is the HeatStorm 3000 to 6000 watt heater. It has a remote control, which does have a magnet on the back, so you can stick that onto something, such as the heater, but I'd recommend putting it somewhere else because of the amount of heat that this is generating. There's a user manual, a thermometer, there's a bracket, so you can mount this either on the wall or the ceiling. There's a bag of hardware to mount and also some batteries to go in that thermometer. Before installing this, let's go ahead and take a tour around this unit. So here on the front, there are several control buttons, as you can see. There's also a display here in the middle, which we will go over in more detail in just a bit. There's a lever over here, which you can move up or down to direct the flow of air a little bit better. If you turn this over to the side, you can see the mounting holes. So there are two here in the front and one here in the back. The bracket that we're going to be using has a little bit of a tilt adjustment, which is nice to see. If I flip this over to the back, you can see where the air intake is going to be. There's also some information on the unit up here, and over here there is a plate that we're going to be removing in order to get the wiring done on this. Speaking of wiring, there is a single hole up here on the top, as you can see in this corner, and that's going to be where the wires go into. All right, and as far as the bottom goes, you can see it's just a smooth piece of metal to look attractive from the bottom. All right, let's go ahead and work on getting this installed. Here is the mounting bracket that was mentioned a second ago. It's got some holes to mount here on the side, and here are the places where it can be tilted or adjusted there to have a different angle. HeatStorm also includes this small thermometer. Let's go ahead and put the batteries in here and see what the temperature is out here in my little building. Looks like we're working with 39 degrees out here today. I'm up here at my top shop where this heater is going to be installed. Now, this is a 240 volt heater, which means it has to have two breakers, both sides being 120 volts. And you also have to have a cable like this. I went to my local big box store for home improvement and got a dryer cable, and this will be what goes from my 240 volt receptacle to the heater. Let me show you that setup over here real quick. Now you'll note the plug that I have is a 4-prong. It's got a ground, 2 hot legs, and a neutral. This heater can use the 4-prong or the 3-prong and be just fine. If we step over here, I have got a receptacle that has the 4-prong on there, and so we'll be using that. And if I open up my panel here, I've got this breaker right here, which is spanning across 2 different slots, and that is 30 amps at 240 volts. So that's what we're going to be using right there to power this heater. Now, I've got a board stretched across this corner, and that's because I want to mount the heater in this 45 degree, because typically whenever I'm working out here, I'm standing right here, and I wanted to make sure that I have heat flowing on me. To get started with this install, I have the included hardware to mount this bracket with, and I'm going to just be using a drill bit that is slightly smaller than the threads to go ahead and get this installed. I'm going to hold the bracket up here where I want this to go, and then I'm going to take a pencil and just mark the 4 places where I'm going to have that attached to. Now we can pre-drill in those spots. Now I can take the included hardware, stick that here into the bracket, and then use my drill to get that screwed in here. Now it's time to wire up this heater. On the back there are 4 screws, which I've already removed 2 of them, and I'm just going to open up this panel so we can access the interior here. If you look in closely, there are 2 blocks over here. That's where the black and red wires are going to go. It doesn't really matter which one. And then up under here, there is a ground. This bar here in the middle is what's going to hold the wire in place to clamp it down so it doesn't come back out of this hole up here. This might be a little awkward for me to film, but we'll do our best here. I'm going to use a flathead to open up these terminals, get those prepared. And I've already got the wire stripped down, so it should be pretty easy to fit into the hole here. Like I said, you can use a 4-prong cable here. The white wire is just not going to be used on this heater. So I'm going to take the black and the red, and I suppose I'll also put the white in there just for the sake of having more of a grip there. But that's just going to fit underneath this clamp, hopefully. It's a little bit awkward. Black wire, I think, down on the lower side. And then the red wire can go on the upper side here. I set the heater up so it's a lot easier to work with. As you can see, I have got the black and the red wires into those terminals right there, and the white wire is just loose. The middle clamp has now clamped around the black and red wires so that the cable won't be pulling out. Now, if you look down here, there is a green wire, and I have to press it into this little saddle right here and then clamp that down with some pliers to make that connection. So let me do that real quick. I used a pair of vice grips and got that nice and tight down in there. That is the completion of the wiring. Let's go ahead and get this cover back on here and then mount this on the wall so we can begin testing out this and seeing how well it heats my shop. Time to get this heater installed on the mounting bracket up here. So I'm going to lift this into place and begin getting this installed. It's a little bit awkward to do this alone, but let's see what we can do here, especially since I'm standing on a bucket. All right. Yeah, once you get one started in there, it's not so bad. Whew. Here's a closer look at how the heater is mounted on this bracket. It has 3 holes back here on the back. I use the top one there and then the front one over here to angle this unit down some, and I think it's going to do quite well. And of course it looks the same over here as well. Okay, let's go ahead and plug this thing up and see what happens. I'm going to just get my cord up and out of the way and plug this up right here. Here we go. And I can tuck that extra cable up behind the unit if I need to. And we can also go ahead and flip the power on here. All right, we got a beep, and here is the power button. Whew, immediate heat. That's crazy. I'm gonna turn that off because I only have a 30 amp service out here in my building, and I don't want that to run too hot. So I wanna drop that setting down to the 3000 watt instead of the 6000 watt. Now it's time to install the app. I've got the instruction booklet here, which has the QR code. I'll go ahead and open up my camera and go on to that QR code and see if it takes me where I should go here. The HeatStorm website. I now have the app installed and I've set up a free account. Let's go ahead and connect this to the heater. I've got the heater turned on. I'm going to go ahead and press the Wi-Fi button and then go ahead and send that over here to the phone. I now have the app installed. As you can see, the heater is set to reach 63 degrees. I can actually change the value here. Currently it's 58 degrees on the internal thermometer. I can move that around and do a change on that. I can actually go in here and change the low, auto, or high power settings. I can turn the unit off. If I click this right here, I can do fan mode or heat mode. And then if I go over here, I can also do timer, which I don't have that set up at the moment. So the app is working. What's cool though is I can use the power button and I can turn the unit off or on from inside the house. Now on the remote, you've got the power button, the minus temperature, the positive temperature, heat or fan setting. You've got your adjustment for temperature, the fan on or off here, and then I'm not sure yet what these buttons do. Let's see if we can figure it out. The heater is currently off. I'm gonna go ahead and press the power button here. All right, that kicks things on. Looks like it did remember the low setting there. So if I press the minus button, okay, that's gonna drop or raise the temperature. As you can see, the flashing light there. If I click this one over here, it would allow me to set a timer. I'm going to turn that off. We don't want that. What happens if I press this one? Nothing. Alright, those three blank buttons don't seem to do anything on the remote. And let's see if I turn this middle one on. It's probably going to go to high or auto. Yep, there's auto, high. And like I said before, that's too high for the amount of power I have out here in my shop. So I'm going to keep this on the lower setting. The little flap up here can be adjusted to blow the air up or allow it to go straight out. I think I'll be keeping it here so that it'll hit me whenever I am working out here in my workshop. I've been using this shop now for 10 years and have not had heat, and so it is so nice to have this heater finally installed. As you can see, the installation was quite simple, just running that single power cord up here. Now you can get a cord as long as you need to have that reach your heater. For me, I've got one, it's about 4 or 5 foot, and it's more than enough here. The installation was super simple, and as you can see, this is very easy to understand with all the buttons. You can use your phone and the remote, and that way you don't have to climb up here and touch things manually. If you want to check out the HeatStorm heater, I will have a link in the description down below. So far, with my initial use, I like this thing a lot. Let me bring out the temperature gun real quick so you can see just how warm this thing is. So I have the HeatStorm thermometer that was provided here. I can go ahead and just see how this one right here compares to it. So 43 versus 44.5 on that display. So pretty close. If I move up here, it says 61 on the display. If I test up in there, we're getting let's see, up to 180 is the most I've seen up in there. 190. But if I reach out here on the side, got 52, 60. So anyway, you can see that it's definitely producing that heat right there and doing a good job. Now that remote control is magnetic, so if I want to stick it somewhere like right there, I could do that, and it would help me not lose that. But of course I can also use the phone if I need to. Now let's connect the external thermometer to the heater. If you turn this to the back, you'll see there is a link button here on the upper corner, and it's going to be used to link our heater to this. So let's go ahead and first turn the heater on. So you can see it says 42 up there and 40 down here. This button right here is what we're going to hold down for 5 seconds to get it to connect to this thermometer. Alright, now I'm going to hold down this link button. Alright, 41 up there, 41 down here. Now that I have the external thermometer linked up to the heater, I can mount this on the wall and see what temperature it is in the room and what the heater is sensing without having to look up at the heater over here. And as you can see, it is also showing 41 on that display. Alright, that's all I've got for you today. If you want to check out the HeatStorm 3000 to 6000 watt garage heater, then I will have a link to this in the description down below. So far, I'm happy with it and looking forward to heating up my shop whenever it's super cold out. I'm Seth with Land House, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.